TedCast. We're talking about Myanmar, and we're here with Paul. Ooh, did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. I'm proud of you, man. You said it right.
I just went for it. Thank you very much for being here, Paul. And yeah, you were talking right before this about the long mental journey to get to this point, and I feel you on that one, man. Feel free to share any of that, and let us know real quick here briefly. You know what motivates you to be active on the subject, and what motivates you in life in general on a daily basis.
Man, those are heavy questions, but let's see what I can do to respond. All right. So basics about me. I'm Burmese. I migrated here as an immigrant in 2000. So I've been here for 21 years now with my family. It was tough, my parents were pretty settled back in the back in Burma when we were living there, and so for them to readjust and restart their whole life, it wasn't easy. But here we are. I work for Department of Water and Power in Los Angeles. I see it as a necessity for me to be in a company like that, I guess. I was in private before. It hurts, man. It hurts being in private, especially on the utility side, just because I think, I don't know, there's a lot of demand for power, energy in general, and it's not something that's questioned, and it's something I work through as I'm working through DWP. It's yeah. So and as this relates to Burma, the environment in Myanmar, besides the political issues there, it's a beautiful country. And it's kind of ironic for me just because I know enough about Burma, yet I haven't been to the places that I know. Every time I go back home, it's always to greet the family. And so you never really get to go to the cool spots that, everyone travels to.
So how old were you when you guys came?
I was 7. So that's probably why I don't have much of a accent,
Yeah, and so you didn't get to do any traveling on your own, type of exploring the country. My brother and his wife actually went there years ago.
Oh, nice.
On their honeymoon in Vietnam, and then they went a few other places, and they went nearby and then hopped across the border, kind of not permitted, not whatever, proper or whatever. They loved it. They were in the jungle, and yeah, it was beautiful where they were. But yeah, I know so little about it, other than I know a bit about the past and when they switched over to a form of democracy that now has fallen once again. And the timing is so interesting, as this was basically Trump's dream, would be that the generals in our military would have said, hey, he's the one, it was an election fraud, let's keep him in office, and instead here's what it looks like in real life when the military takes over. And it's scary.
Yeah, that's it speaks volumes on that, man. Burma has gone through a lot with its military. It's one of the facts about Burma that surprised people, I guess, is that it has the record, not the favorite record, but it has a record for the longest civil war recorded. It's been over 100 years that they've been having to go through different iterations of dealing with the military. One of the biggest problems would be the fact that the citizens are not allowed to have guns or any type of weapons, which is really interesting, because here in the States we take it as a huge divide between having guns or not having guns, but when push comes to shove in a place like that, it makes a huge difference in what the people can do and accomplish on their own.
I mean, do you realistically think, though, that people with guns here could actually do anything against our government? I mean,
it's not even worth like questioning for me, here in the States. Like it's just like we have such a safe place here,
Yeah, I mean, I do. I find that very interesting because, I don't think guns are the answer. I mean, there's a lot of issues. I would say, but I was curious what you think about the possibility of some good coming out of this, where because there's been this period of some freedoms and people have had access to social media and some of the ways to organize that
Yeah,
very hard to take away. I've heard
right.
some of these groups that normally are fighting each other, some of the different ethnic groups are coming together now and might find some peace that they would not have otherwise had, and then can unite and then would have a strong enough group. And I know they do have some guns, some of those groups. But, I don't know if you feel like there's hope there or if that's just, more of the same kind of civil war. But it sounds like, hopefully something positive could come out of this for the people.
Yes, I think the hope that we have, at least from my perspective, is just we need to get rid of that military's like influence, and I'm not really sure how we're going to do that, but they've had such a tight hold on political processes, including if you heard of Aung San Suu Kyi, who's she, even when she was elected in the position of power, she couldn't really do much against them just because of how the laws were written,
Right.
Like it was a miracle for her to even be in the position that she was. There was a lot of help like from lawyers and judges to kind of help her create that type of like role for herself.
I find it pretty amazing too, and it's powerful that a woman can do that in a country where we have so much trouble with, we had Hillary as a candidate, and there's all this negative masculine culture that we have that is in a lot of places. But sometimes with a revolutionary movement, people coalesce around a female figure, and they can listen to her in a different way. Women can communicate differently than men sometimes.
I totally agree, man.
I don't believe in traditional gender roles, but there are some things that society, roles were chosen a long time ago in the caves, and it's played out over history, and people do have strengths and weaknesses. And yeah, I found that very interesting, and seeing her in these rooms where it's all these military men, and basically, and she's the only woman when she was in power, is really it's really an impressive and inspiring thing. But yeah, so do you think that the United States, what role do you think the United States should have in this? Because, right now we've really had very little. And we could, it's a country of what, about 50 something million people.
50 million.
It's not a giant country. It's got its own challenges, but I mean, we meddle in every country around the world. So do you think we should meddle at all? And if so, what do you think we should do?
These are awesome questions, man. I appreciate the effort that you've put into think about this. So something that's heartbreaking for people that experience this type of military coup. So like what inspired, I guess you can say this is an act of inspiration or a cause, whatever. But the Burmese people going through this, I started learning about activism relating to other countries who are suffering from military tension, right? So like the issues with Turkey and the US not coming in to intervene, I learned is, it's heartbreaking, but it's the truth of like war being economics, the US will come to provide aid in locations where they see that it will help them in the long run, so that's why we are heavily invested, in the Middle East. But in Southeast Asia, it's such a new battlefield, for I would say Western I guess I'll just use imperialism. It's still, like an undeveloped land. It's still an undeveloped country. They are going through their industrial revolution right now, and they have to balance like the rights and the like the development of their country while being still like used as an outsource by, you know, Western countries. So that's the interesting part, because it's kind of a repetition of Africa, right? Like for like larger countries to come to Africa, take its resources, whether it's like manpower or natural resources. But yeah, so Southeast Asia is definitely going through that. And I don't, my heart's conflicted with how I want the US to, you know, intervene. But the biggest thing that we can definitely do, man, through the research that we've been learning and understanding, is that we can stop the flow of money to the military. 70% at one point, 70% of their money came from really just projects with oil and gas industry.
Yes.
And so Chevron is actually a big player in this. Chevron funds a lot of the projects that are going through the oil and gas development in Burma. And so they own some land there. They work with basically, they're working with China to develop this pipeline. Always with these pipelines. And yeah, so it's tough. It's tough because like Burma still wants these type of developments, because it's a way for the countries to grow, right? Like it's a way for them to modernize. But at the same time, like, you know, how can we stop the military from accessing the money while the projects are still continuing, right? Like realistically, you know, we don't want oil to be the main source of development for Burma. Like, you know, we would love it if there were other types of ways for their economy to grow, but it's a reality, right? So what I've learned through the people that are going through advocacy campaigns is like, hey, you know, like we can have these projects still going, but rather than sending all this money to the accounts that have already existed with the military, create new accounts, right? Create new accounts, deposit the funds there, wait until the national unity government, which is going to be like the new form of government that they're hoping for, is back in power, right? And then once they're in power, they can use that money that's just been idly sitting there, rather than having that money consistently being, you know, utilized by the military right now. So that's one of the advocacy programs that I'm trying to get my hands dirty with. There's a lot of groups that are doing amazing things. We just recently had an art auction. And I donated my time to make a little drawing. My dad is an artist. My uncle's an artist. My brother is a graphic designer. We got international support for this. Like there were artists from around the world that donated their paintings, and we had international support. I'm a little bummed because I have to send my painting to Hong Kong, and my cousin was so close to winning my freaking the painting, and she lives here in LA. So now I have to figure out how to send that to Hong Kong.
Yeah, but
yeah,
how cool is
it's all for a good cause.
In Hong Kong, your piece of art in auction to support that cause. I mean, that's pretty amazing. You know, that's really,
dude, it's
spectacular.
I don't know much about this type of volunteering yet. So maybe you guys know more than I do, but like I'm very new to just joining random, like these are random orgs that are just like popping up with people, you know, like volunteering their time. And it's beautiful, but I have no idea like if it's this simple, you know, like so I'm very new to this. I've donated, or not donated, I've helped my community through church, which has been like with me my whole life. But you know, it's nice to see that we can congregate beyond religion to support the people of Burma.
Yeah, you know, I think that the church and religion can play such a good role, and also such a divisive role at times in that, and it's really really a double-edged sword, as so many things are, just like technology, just like everything out there. Because yeah, there's great stuff you can do in organizations without any sort of religion involved. But when you get people that are attached to a spiritual movement, obviously they will, take that usually an extra mile, or in some cases maybe too far in some people's perspectives. But it depends on what they're going too far with. If they're knocking on your door and asking to help save you, well, maybe you can say it's mildly annoying, but who cares, right? If they're starting wars or killing people, whatever, then all right, now we've gone a little too far. I mean, but that's pretty clear. Yeah, I think it's great, and I'm still, it's something where I always try to search for an answer, not just a criticism, right? So would you say the best thing that the government could do, that we could do, would be to send a message to these oil companies and say, don't do business with them right now? Because that's basically what they're doing, right? They're paying the military for security and access to be able to take the resources, right? Is that the
pretty much? I mean, it's whatever the usual business for oil and gas is. If we can just somehow let's kind of stop that flow. I know that basically the New York Times released a recent article with an interview from a Chevron lobbyist who revealed all this information, saying, "Hey, yeah, like Chevron is the main contender here when we're talking about the crisis in Burma being like, if we really want to like do something as a nation, this is where we can draw the line. This is where we can like give the most support, which is to stop Chevron from continuing its standard business practices."
Is there some kind of online petition people can sign?
Mm-hmm.
Where should they go? Like, give us some of these things. Tony will throw them up on the screen and people can click and do their part that way, even though that's just a little bit. That's something that's so easy to do. Why not?
Yeah, totally.
Seconds and do it, So
yeah, sure.
What are those websites, organizations, et cetera?
Give me a moment to pull that up, if that's okay.
No problem. You waited 30 minutes for us to be ready.
Not a big deal. Let me get
Friday afternoon, folks, and we're doing via Zoom here from Work Evolution Laboratories, 8th floor.
We're good.
Apologies for the delay, but Paul is great.
Friday. I'm already off the clock. I'm happy. Could be worse. All right.
What's your position over there at the?
Let me get that link. At Department of Water and Power, I am an electrical engineer, and I am currently in the division to. Well, I don't think it really matters, but there's all these street poles you see for carrying all the cables. Where my team is responsible for turning all those into underground projects. That way that we have room for different types of development, I guess.
I got you.
And it's safer. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, fewer power outages, all that stuff. So are you interested in doing like the electrical diagramming for some environmental projects, some environmental business projects going forward?
Yes. I guess.
I'll take the I'll put you more off camera down the road.
No worries.
Something told me you might be interested in it because we have an incubator that we're launching soon that is focused on eco-friendly ideas, and there's some things that need to be prototyped, and these are opportunities for people to collaborate. Some of them will be funded already and working. Some will be just from the idea point forward. But you do seem like someone that would be interested potentially in jumping in on something positive for the planet, where you can also make some money.
Yeah, man.
That's called
That'd be awesome.
Fair Long Beach Incubator. We'll let you folks know about it later. We'll be launching soon, and same with you, Paul. The website's under development, and we're looking to change the world in all the ways we can for the better.
Sounds fantastic. All right, so I found the website. So Stand Now is a website that my girlfriend and I have been following. We It's such a small group, man. Like,
what is this?
say that again. I'm sorry.
Is it standnow.org.com? What is this?
Oh, you know what? Let me check that out. So I opened it from Linktree. From Linktree, it shows standnow.org.
All right.
Yep. Yep. On there, you can see a petition to help a lot of different causes. I'm opening it up right now. There's a petition to help people that are in the textile industry, working with Adidas, Zara, Little. Another one would be for, what's it called? No, I'm supposed to see the Chevron one in here, but I don't see it.
Yeah, well, I see Chevron. I'll say, Chevron, just go on their Twitter account. Tell them I'm serious. I mean, that's how these companies, these people get shamed. You know, go on Twitter and tell Chevron.
Yeah, you're right.
Stop
You're right.
contributing to Myanmar. Cool.
Well, I can definitely send you guys links too, but there's multiple.
We'll put those up. So just we'll put those up here at the end, and that way people can have something positive they can do going forward, some kind of small action step. But are you guys? So you guys did the art auction. Are you guys? Do you guys have another type of event like that planned coming up? I know it just happened, so no pressure. But I just mean, are you going to keep the momentum going, or what's the status on that?
You know, I feel very lucky that I joined when I did join. It's been project after project, and these guys have been burned out. This is the first 2 weeks that they're taking off to kind of detox and have a little bit of space for them. But they've been going since February, since this started, with like project after project. And after this, the biggest one that's coming up right now for me is going to be a multi-ethnic protest in San Francisco. Okay. It's going to be awesome. We had one. Sorry, say that again.
When is that one?
That will be May 29th.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is the name of the organization that's hosting that?
We don't have an organization. It's just going to be a lot of us. Just
okay.
I'm one of the organizers. We got like 6 people, and this is a network nationwide. Like, these people are going to contact, like the entire state worth of, churches or communities that live in like Texas, New York, LA, San Diego. So it's gonna be cool. Right. We just had one about a month ago in DC, and that was really inspiring for me. So I'm hoping that this next one's gonna be just as beautiful.
All right. So May 29th, multi-ethnic protest. We will put some information up to that we can find, because I like the sounds of that. I don't know. You said, what is the national organization that you're not sure who you said there's someone that's activating these other communities around?
Yeah. So again, like I said, I'm a little new to this whole process of like activism, right? But for our community, the way that we've been working through this, it's just been a lot of pro bono,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know too many organizations that are in this to get paid. Like a lot of these are just people that are just passionate and volunteering their time for this. One organization that is right now internationally recognized, they have a website developed, they have put all this stuff together, is GM4MD. That's GM. What does GM stand for? I don't remember what it stands for, but GM4MD. It's a cool group so far from what I'm learning. We have what's it called, Slack, as our main interface to communicate with all the groups. They have a group just for project management. They have a group for design, which is the one that I'm contributing to. They have a group for what's it called, social media. So they're pretty well established right now.
Okay.
But yeah, so in regards to the protests, this is just a lot of us that are like, hey, let's do this again. let's get the numbers up. Let's fund these fundraisers. It was like my girlfriend just bought $1,000 worth of stickers to sell, and their quota, or rather their goal, was to make 10K, and they made 8.2 thousand. So that was like, I don't know, I thought that was amazing, just from stickers alone, you know.
That's pretty awesome. Well, that's great. I mean, I'm all for the protest. That's why I'm trying to see if there's a way we can help promote that, because, you know, I think that the online stuff, signing petitions, and the Twitter, especially shaming companies, works. Like, let's be real, shaming them,
yes,
to lose money. And so when you post something publicly, it does shame them. It does work a little bit, but protests in the street work too. And so that's great. You're trying to do both sides of it too. And so yeah, we want to support you as much as we can on that, because it's good work. And
appreciate that, Ted. We're definitely like, literally, we just started organizing the protest Thursday as our first meeting. We're going to have a Facebook event page, you know, created for this, and so that's where you're going to be able to see all the details. We plan to have like,
send me that link, and then I'll put that up on here too.
Perfect, man. All right.
I have a question though, real quick. So,
yes, sir.
Burma, you said at the beginning you're Burmese, and I know that the from the little I know, but the military government, they wanted to change the name to kind of like put their own imprint on it and call it Myanmar, and it's supposed to be more formal or something, right? Is that the Now, does that mean we're supposed to call it a Myanmar python instead of a Burmese python, like that? But you go with Burmese, and like was that the real? I mean, is that the real story behind it, or is that just like a surface level kind of like, you know, like, what do you feel about that name itself? Because it's pretty. If you think about, you know, it's like, okay, I made the little joke, but it's not really a joke about this being like Trump's dream, right? The military says no, he's the right guy. This was fraud. Well, but what if you changed the name of the country? Like, that's hardcore to change the name of the country where you're from.
Right. Myanmar is actually the official name of the country. It happened a few decades ago, basically when we had our first revolution from Japanese control. So I think it was the British that helped the Burmese people gain freedom from Japan. And so that's how we got Myanmar. And the reason it's called Myanmar is because when you say Burma in Burmese, you say Myanmar. So it's just trying to directly translate the word. And I don't understand why there's Myanmar and then there's Burmese, but like, we go with Burmese for so many words too, you know, like, when you're going to describe your ethnicity, I'm going to say I'm Burmese. I'm not going to say I'm Yemenese or something.
Right,
you know?
Right.
Yeah. So it's a little confusing for all of us, but the historical context is, yes, it used to be called Burma. Then through independence, we call it Myanmar. But we use the term Burma so like loosely for so many different things, where it's just hard to like get that out of the system, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think as long as people have some form of peace and freedom, they don't really care what the country's called too much. That's a secondary concern. But,
end of that, man.
Yeah, I mean, the divisions we create as humans must drive God crazy to watch, man. But thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're doing. I'm gonna say some prayers for you and you're on your mission here. And let's check back in soon. Let me know how the protest goes, and definitely let me know the Facebook page so we can share that. And my brother lives up in the Bay, so he's got some friends up there. So hopefully he can rally his Berkeley, you know, activists.
Yeah, that's what Berkeley is about.
Right? Put his money where his mouth is. Put that diploma. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Have a good night.
All right, man.
How long?